Kanokura TV.
Kanokura TV.
Maminchiao, Ubia, not Sabri, Bibia, Biano, Bomadi so live, Over live, we Kanokura, a year Wednesday edition on the 9th of October 2024. I wish you, dear Tiana say, and they know, yes, so, Yanis that phone and I enjoy, your friends say, 1 year brutality anniversary no nti e kwa kohe no mai zafo no maye nsem o maka ene nkomo o madie ene dwumadi a o mpeso mo ye nyina nti e beko ne yakwa kotie bi akiri nti bebia obi a subscribe na share bebia obi a bo mo dia so be share bebia obi a bo so be share what is over shepa and Timichia Obia or Hemi. The Unia Casafonia Hunia ye the brutality anniversary 7th October a Juadano Navia Sunday Juadana yes Juadana is ye a Juadan is super pedana casa de ye Saturday but a Juadano and a ABC. And these are for normal celebrations be brave. No more didn't come over brave. Tia Baconia cohere the brutality no how Umuncruno, Umusi says, no near the idea. In fact, a year I was empa is Viasia, Esenki Viasi in a cassetia, but what him say, what Trinity the Nya do become man was assis, the choosing ones in the Ubian Cambo was assis, Nelson Radu Mafan 10 piano, Umudi in Kunim. Na make us say no at the Kumbi Blabe Viasia. A year Israel and Hamas to call Makunya some good to Sabri Hamas no almost about 60 to 70% dear. Umunina no make us say almost free viasi. And is the Alomad money the actually he bought for the soup. The one so yasam good to is your bought for the call for ceasefire. I only penny bakuna umpum. Some of the Muslim you never surrender. Since he has more precise fire, Netanyahu were turned out some clontes to go be no bit. It was therefore number 7 casse subscribe, na share, if you will be a nichiao, a mumuana, a ye canocrano, and cosubia ribi. One ribiano, ye shroud, that was so in advance. Tina, the owner, na anniversary is therefore ye freebie be. Novara ya Naza Nova da Music Festival. And no, and I know more job is more a year the Feast of Tabernacle, and the Feast of a year Atonement, and the Feast of Trumpet. Necessary. Na and no moodia Sabrina Mubabi Vino, Omede, and no, any are sending Jeza for Mujomani pa, any Gia. O Mabobo added that just said Torres for the cover on planning you come who say is that for Sabrina or my ring sabo into the young common so I'm matching. Jamachi Besse 5, 6 no more a hoda da. Na Umukum nipa a year a pim any a henu any new maybe brace says she are dying Kunkwala reprima my tree a year imu ahem you dunu at the core. A young quasum, no, near Chibi Conquasum, no, ye bruises, ya witness bia, you move 250 conquasum, a year assassi. Na and none enough finchia, and a year a juade, ya ichemi. Na and same be and a is our phono, at the attitude. Young quit ye, Obaba qua udikain, and summer or kafa, a year, sa adversary about. What they want through Niama Umkum and Niama Omashese on the Yankutino and Israel Lady Baku Yankutino.
One of the, if not the most hardest hit community in the October 7th massacre. You see just some.
This is not AI, this is not a movie scene, this is not a tour site. We're in Kibbutz Be'eri. For a second, I want to try and take you back to October 7th. The time is 6:30 a.m. and we have non-stop alarms. Less than 30 minutes later, we have an infiltration of terrorists to this kibbutz and to the 22 points. Here in the kibbutz were hundreds of terrorists. The estimation is somewhere around 400 terrorists just in this kibbutz. They come in by air with gliders, with bakais, by land with the white pickup trucks. Most of them have machine guns glued on them, set on automatic. They come in with motorbikes. And they came in, unfortunately, very well prepared. Guns, grenades, RPGs, bombs, and they start shooting, rampaging, screaming and yelling in Arabic. And people are hiding inside their mamads. Now, when we talk about what a mamad is, it's a room that's supposed to be protecting you from bombs, missiles, not from terrorists. And if that wasn't enough, they later set a lot of the houses on fire. They brought with them from Gaza gasoline tanks and tires. They tossed them inside and set the houses on fire. People were either shot to death and then burnt, or burnt while still alive, or would inhale the smoke from the fire, choke on it, step outside, usually through the window of the mamad, because again, folks, it's another room in the house. There's a regular window which has an iron ceiling to protect you from bombs. So they would step outside, usually through the window, where they will meet a terrorist who either murders them or kidnaps them into Gaza. And the world is not only forgetting, but it's saying, look at Gaza, look at what's going on there. But what we need to remember is that on the 6th of October there was a ceasefire. And on the 7th of October, Hamas chose to break it. They murdered, butchered, raped, sexually assaulted, kidnapped innocent civilians, civilians that believed and worked towards peace, because the people that choose to live less than a mile away from Gaza, first and foremost, these are people that believed in peace, that work towards peace.
Well, David, this is, I guess we could say, in many ways, the epicenter of what happened on October 7th. 364 mostly young people in the prime of life slaughtered here at the music festival. You've been here many times since that day. Looks a bit different now than it did in the immediate aftermath, but you were here immediately after the massacre here at the Nova Music Festival. Tell us what you saw in the aftermath, first of all.
It was a music festival, and people were camping out here for 3 days. I remember all the tents. I remember the clotheslines that people had. I remember the toys around the tents. When we entered into the site.
Ye nua be e ka se ye fafri ye nua be ma Eric Stabek wo US TBN US ho na o twetwe sa enkumu ya yetie bi na Israelfo no ede omsom atudwa wo ye niema eto wo mu wo October 7th yenko tie de ne nua ba ne ka no ye wi a foforo nso ibetie ya Pinto ono nso ibetie from ho anafia ko CBN ankasa nso akofa ibisu ewo hono.
Not too far from here, there were dozens of cars, many of them sprayed with bullets, some of them with explosives blown up. 6:30 in the morning and mortar and rockets are falling all around you.
Paragliders, Hamas terrorists coming in on hang gliders, paragliders.
And they came in, and they started. People they didn't know what to do.
It's an open field.
Exactly.
Where do you go?
So you get in your car and you went to the highway right over there. The only problem is if you went north, right at that junction right up over there, terrorists had already been there. And you get there and they started shooting you from there. So you turn back, yet the only problem was at the other direction is terrorists had taken control of that junction as well. Most of the people that survived that day from this party were the ones not in their cars, but the ones who left their cars and started running and running and running for hours. Well, you look at a place like this and you look at what happened to the people here that were butchered, massacred here. You look at the communities along the border, the people were massacred, butchered, raped, pillaged, and you know that that's what we're up against. We didn't choose to go to war on the 7th of October. On the 6th of October, like we always like to say, there was a ceasefire. We didn't breach that ceasefire.
Israel was invaded.
We were invaded, we were attacked. And now we're returning the attack and we're gone on the offensive. And two things, our two goals: to totally dismantle Hamas and destroy its ability to ever commit the atrocities that were committed on the 7th of October, and at the same time, to bring back those remaining hostages. We cannot forget them. It's important.
God bless. We appreciate it.
Definitely. They brought us, all the reserve soldiers, here to walk around, to look at the pictures of those young kids that were murdered by Hamas as they were celebrating a music peace festival. Okay, that's the spirit that they were at. And the Hamas terrorists came here with the spirit of evil in order to murder them. So they brought us here to realize and to know why we are fighting. And I think it's super important for everybody to know that we are fighting this sort of evil. Listen, the first day I was called into Khan Yunis, I was afraid. And I got a command from my commander telling me, I want you by my side inside Khan Yunis. And I said, okay, first of all, how do I tell my wife? And secondly, I stopped for a second and prayed. I asked God, if this is from you, then you're gonna take care of me. Listen, it's a war zone. It's like World War II movies with bombs, explosives all around you. And when you're there in Gaza, the walls are shaking with every explosion. So it's a whole different reality. But being here as civilians, they shouldn't deal with this sort of fear and rockets. I mean, that's why we have the idea. We are fighting this war so that everybody else can have a normal life. Listen, I think that by you coming here to step, to walk, to see, to feel, it makes a whole different level of understanding for you personally, and then for all of the people that are watching us all over the world. We need your help, we need your support in sharing the truth. This is a spiritual battle. We are fighting an enemy that wants to destroy us and then spread to the rest of the world. Spiritual battles are not fought with guns and with missiles. They're fought with prayer, with intercession, with reading the Bible, and we are serving an amazing God, and He's gonna win.
That's right. About what went down in this community of about 1,000 people, 250 families on October 7th.
In fact, October 17th, Nanya Adeketua Kora, we flag ya, is when out to me say, do one I wanna Hamas for 80 at to show Sukum Kumona, almost see you more son. A Yarahosama Yama Iza for Yako. And Momushed say, Omukosu in your nasum. Na, you see, in shoe a far band, Jesse with Jansunum. Tomokosu minya denominanum, and yes, she will radimu. Omchichi Israel Maya, and also Enyo Maya, a car Iriaso. Na, and yan uncle, Yenian Mu CBN, a year Christian Broadcast Network, woman so a interview beer. Yabessa, and so you could TV na your Yenia baby on so or your idea of spokesperson, the honest Dema, the only 2 Jaw, a year October 17 near Ma, or soldier says is our 4 years, we need be and to be we are now for your cock and verse in Anka say, Num, any asa, any Gia is our for a woman, cause a young Korean could CBN, a year in your ban so at the end. We ye Nevada Music Festival anniversary, October 7th, brutality against Israel. Young Korean could CBN, a year Chris Metro, any in your bar, also a reporter at the man CBN, a war, Middle East, Yanko.
They will do it again, given the chance. So it's very clear that we have to not repeat the same mistakes over and over again. We can't allow them to remain in power and then plan again for the next opportunity that they have to do another October 7th or, God forbid, something even worse than that.
Sigal also argues that the Palestinian Authority should not have a leadership role.
What we have created at the end of the day is a corrupt entity. Also, from day one, they've been funding terrorism, they've been inciting to terrorism, they've been paying rewards and stipends to terrorists and their families. It's all over the place. It's in every platform, in every school book. All they talk about is the end of Israel and the destruction of the Jewish state and the killing of Jews.
She and other attorneys searched cases from the last century to find any success in overcoming what she called a crazy homicidal society that hates your guts.
So it didn't work in Afghanistan, and it didn't work in Iraq, and it didn't work in many other places, but it did work in Imperial Japan and in Nazi Germany. Within a few years, you see Germany, at least Western Germany, went back into being a very positive neighbor in Europe, a prosperous economy.
Sigal's group, along with the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, came up with the Gaza Security and Recovery Program, which has 4 main principles.
First one is that Israel must have full military control over the Gaza Strip. Full military control. Because if we are there, we can prevent them from building terror tunnels, from building more rockets and factories and everything that we have seen.
For decades, Israel had a clear presence in the Gaza Strip as thousands of Israelis lived in communities there. After the 2005 Israeli withdrawal, however, the Palestinian Authority, followed by Hamas, had free reign over the region.
The second thing would be to make sure that we de-radicalize the Palestinian society in Gaza. And so we have to look at what are the engines of indoctrination in the Palestinian society. So first of all, it's the schools, right? It's the curriculum, it's the teachers, it's all the content, it's the mosques, everything that is being taught, under the auspices of the, radical Islamist ideology in the mosque.
She says it would be similar to the Marshall Plan implemented by the Allied powers after World War II in Nazi Germany and Japan.
They completely replaced a lot of that content, brought teachers and experts from outside and incorporated that into a new kind of system. And so that has to be a very important fundamental pillar of the new plan for the day after.
The third principle would be to break up control of the Gaza Strip.
Let's divide the Gaza Strip into 5, 6, 7, or 8 different districts, local governments, and then, if you need to replace somebody, then you can.
The last point would be putting conditions on international aid and support.
So there are a list of benchmarks that were suggested: cooperation, economical cooperation, social cooperation, getting rid of terror contact, the de-radicalization program. And then if you do better with that, you get more international aid support, infrastructure, money coming in.
Sigal believes following this plan would enable those local governments meeting that criteria to build up their districts, while those supporting terror would not receive any outside funding to grow or improve infrastructure. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
CNN nsɛm a ɛkɔ so na kyerɛ sɛ ɛyɛ ade a na kyerɛ sɛ nneɛma deɛ bi si October 17 paa yɛ 2023 yɛ anniversary na ɛkɔ so a saa bɛ Israelfoɔ ɔmo gu so a ɔmo ɛdi ɛho abubu ɛne ɔmo a ɔmo nkɔfoɔ ɛhyɛ tunnels mu ɔmo nya maa deɛ esua no mu so ɔmo nso ɔmo wu a yɛsie wɔn ɔmo nso ɔmo abɛka ɔmo sa nso ani agye ɛna ɔmo gu so a ɔmo so ɛnya asɛm ketewa yɛne ɔmo nyinaa bom ɛdi awerɛhoɔ ɛhyɛ ɛho nso nkuran sɛ Awurade ne ɛwɔ yɛafɛn deɛ yɛbɛdi nkonim nti no wei nneɛma a akɔ so a kyerɛ sɛ yɛama wate bi yɛda yɛn nuanom CBN foɔ ase. We thank the CBN and the TBN America Eric Stabek yɛda ɔmo nyinaa ase yɛapinto ɔmo nyinaa ɛn aboa ama yɛate nneɛma ɛkɔ so na asana no yɛn nkɔnkɔhwɛ ɛyɛ anniversary na nkasa no music no ɔmo afɛ ni agro yɛn kɔtie bi na ɛnu akyi no yɛn kɔhwɛ kakra yɛn tie sɛ ɔmo ka na yɛn hwɛ ɛnu akyi no ɛyɛ prime minister nso ɛde ne deɛ ba bɛtoa so na afei ɛnkyɛn ne dwumadie no ɛkɔ wie baatwa yɛn kɔ ne yɛn kɔhwɛ ɛyɛ music na nkasa anniversary no afei deɛ deɛ ɛyɛ ni gyem prime minister na nkasa nso ba hɔ bɛkasa yɛn hwɛ deɛ ɛkɔ ne prime minister nso ɛde bɛtu dwa yɛn kɔ yɛn kɔtie.
כל כך ישראלים וזרים על אהובינו שנחטפו ברשעות והם עדיין מדממים ומתייסרים בשבי הנורא. ליבנו איתם ועם משפחותיהם.
ציפינו והתפללנו שעמית תחזור, אך גופתה של עמית נמצאה במנהרות כעבור 8 חודשים.
אני לא אשכח את המראות, ספרי הילדים בגן העדן שהפך לגיהנום. וכמו בתפילה כבר שנה, שאנחנו בוכים על כל הנרצחים והנופלים, מי באש ומי בחניקה, מי בחרב ומי בחיה, מי בפתח ביתו ומי בממד, מי בחממה ומי ברחובה של עיר, מי במוצב ומי בשדה הקרב, מי בתחנת האוטובוס ומי בתחנת המשטרה. מי במכונית ומי במיגונית, מי בשבילי הקיבוץ ומי במסיבה, מי בטילים וברקטות, מי במנהרות ומי במסתור. לנצח.
יישובים, בערים, במועצות. אלך חתם.
we no ɛyɛ ɔmo kan Hebrew kasa ɔmo kan Hebrew kasa bi ɛfɛ sɛ wote tule nya botre na yɛnhwɛ na yɛmpɛ borɔfo no deɛ no anaasɛ de yɛatwerɛ agu aseɛ borɔfo no na yɛmfa mmerɛ wo nti kɔ so a na join ɛyɛ Kanokorɛ TV yɛne yɛnnuam Israelfoɔ nyina na ɛbom di anniversary ɛnnɛ ne nansa ɛne saa anniversary ɛhyɛ ase wɔm gu so a wɔn ɛka ho asɛm ɛno nti ɛnnɛ yɛda soronko koraa ɛde ma yɛnnuanom a yɛn nso Kanokorɛ TV nso ɛyɛ da soronko so de ma yɛ a yɛn nso yɛkaaka yɛn ho nti yɛnhyɛ no so na baabi a wɔ biara bɔ mmɔden asɛ wɔbɛhyɛ na wɔbɛsubscribe nso ɛde ama yɛn mu a mo asubscribe no nso yɛdɔm ase paa na wonim ɛyɛ a na wode comment nso aba wo comment nso yɛ kama paa wode comment ba ɛno nso yɛ adeɛ a yɛni ɛbɛgye ho kɛseɛ paa nti no yɛhwɛ kwan sɛ mode mo comment ɛbɛba wo a wohwɛ bia wogyina so biara ne yɛserɛ wo bɔ mmɔden a na kyerɛ biribi ka kyerɛ Israelfoɔ ne wiase ɛne mpo Hamas ne Palestinianfoɔ nyinaa saa deɛ ne ntɔkwa kɛseɛ a na ɔden ɛde aba a ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa meka sɛ yi Israel president na saa mmerɛ ɔda so a ɔrekasa no yɛntie deɛ ɔka no kakra.
כך לליבנו. הם רצחו וחטפו תינוקות וילדים, מבוגרים וזקנים. הם התעללו, פצעו, אנסו, שרפו, החריבו. זכרם של אזרחינו חללי מתקפת הטרור, וזכר נופלינו הגיבורים משורות צה"ל וזרועות.
It seems I come from Israel, yes. That should be a radi Yusuba Meko. On my crana, a radiman column transit Meko Israel Coco, show Kakra. Now, Mr. Marco, eyewitness of Nema Yakin Carefree Bible. You go call moi. Sadman be blowa a dance nipa, idin does say isi yampa. Go got our ho, a Hebron, a ho, Samaria, a ho, a year Judea, a ho, a year Jerusalem, a ho. Zion ɛwɔ hɔ Bethel ɛwɔ hɔ Tel Aviv ɛwɔ hɔ Haifa ɛkyɛ sɛ nkuronkuro bebree Jericho nyinaa da ho ɛfrɛ Jericho yɛasesa ne din Jericho nyinaa da ho wɔ hɔ akyɛ sɛ ɛyɛ adeɛ a Israel deɛ ɛyɛ very historic ɛyɛ ancestral and ancient city a ɛyɛ sɛ obiara tumi kɔ no kɔkɔhwɛ no ɛno na ɔtamfo no ɛmpɛ sɛ saa glory no bɛtena ho nti ɔpɛ sɛ ɔfa kwa biara so na wɔyi Jew for the free hɔ nanso ɛyɛ impossible nti wode ɛkɔ so hwɛ video no kakra hwɛ kakra na hwɛ deɛ ɛkɔ so wei ɛde ko kɛseɛ ano ɔden ɛna ɛde abrɛ yɛntie sɛ saa nnwom no a wɔto no kakra.
מתוך עולמות שבורים צומחות דרכים רבות להתמודד עם הכאב.
לפני שנה חרב עלינו עולמנו, וקשה היה לראות קרני אור.
אך אומרים כי השמיים כחולים מעלינו, מלאים באורות, ואולי יום אחד נוכל גם אנחנו לראות את האור.
את השיר יבצעו דניאל וייס ועופרי רחום. דניאל שכל את הוריו תושבי קיבוץ בארי. שמוליק אביו נרצח בביתו, ויהודית אמו של דניאל נחטפה מביתה, וגופתה הושבה מעזה.
3 מבני משפחתה של עופרי נרצחו במסיבת הנובה.
אחותה ניצן שהייתה בחודש הרביעי להריונה, בן זוגה לידור לוי ודודה אבי ססי.
ועם זאת, דניאל ועופרי מצליחים על אף הקושי ולמרות הכאב, כמו רבים אחרים, להרים את עצמם ולראות את האור.
גורלית. היום הזה, שבת שמחת תורה, יחקק בתולדות עמנו כיום של כאב ואובדן, ושל תוגה בל תתואר.
nsɛm bebree aba wiase o nsɛm bebree aba wiase a ma menkan nsɛm kakra ama meka sɛ Iranfoɔ ato barese misak wonim dada yɛaka ho asɛm dada a wɔmde ba Israel so nyame ɛdi boa Israel a antimi anyɛ bɔne biara na ɛno na Israelfoɔ no so yɛ ready sɛ wɔmbɛ retaliate na Iran reportedly warns Arab state against Israel use of airspace for attacks. Tehran, one Gulf Arab state, it will be unacceptable to allow use of their airspace or bases against Iran, threaten a response if they do. We are saying some of you now already what we show by Israel the Osmo Musu. And Iran for an issue statement to Arab countries no say share the that and say the to wait me attacking Iran just what different country and san work on and then Iran for issue trade to the Arab nations and say wa be ma kwan ma Israel issue airspace e dey threat on Iran no ya dey a omunu benya asem nti wa one very very serious threatening kese pa na yinim de ebifre ebeba or say this comment come armed growing concern over possible Israeli retaliation for last week's Iran missiles attack. We say comments out there about Israel and I say Iran for attack Israel last week, you know, and na Iran for was it to be as right ya daunti umushu Iran Foreign Minister Abbas Aralichi headed to Saudi Arabia and other Persian Gulf states. The message also emphasized the need for regional unity against Israel. Until a foreign minister of Iran, echo Saudi Arabia, na a Persian Gulf. Saudi we are omo a kwab akonso mo faso de aka Arab nations nyina boom etia Israel wo mu nyina said de bia Dogan eka wo hwe kwanya say the Arab force no be assolate Israel. Now minim how it's going to be. So unprecedented war is coming to this world. So October 17 in fact and in Sebibli Abiwiasi na the Israeli Air Force intercepted a missile launch towards Israel territory by Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. Yemen from the moon is a good Abentino and Yemen also out to a Yemen from Yemen cross the Red Sea Abba a year Israel and Kotalavi, but Ometima intercepted Omesiano Quantiman Kudi Bolivia. Nanana Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu say Netanyahu warns Lebanon against Hezbollah. Claim it will face destruction like Gaza. For Lebanon for show because one we are Lebanon better Gaza pepe. In a video he said, I say to you, the people of Lebanon, flee your country from Hezbollah so that this war can end. He also added, you have a chance to save Lebanon before it descends into a prolonged war that will bring devastation similar to that. Until Ochirem said, "Umunyani umkro umunyo umkrankwa." And the acquire said the Ugani Ajoka said the Genesis you can 19 kind as he been a to Lebanon for him. And now no most waiting me I be on betting me a sister a corner na a corner to a chana moma free and yes dear. And you catch some say, and the bonnet and a eba iwi as yenko tie dear Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A Kazia de Ehubushafo, no quasimini. Israel is ready to retaliate against Israel. Nobody know how this retaliation is going to be. Na Ehuma Numi Lupa we are say, why we are a trigger near Medbano, a yadia emphasis. Yamon Pama, Iwiase, Yamon Pama, Israel, Yamon Pama. Arab nations in as Asumji Ebeba Yenkoti, the PM of Israel.
Of Lebanon. Do you remember when your country was called the Pearl of the Middle East? I do. So what happened to Lebanon? A gang of tyrants and terrorists destroyed it. That's what happened. Lebanon was once known for its tolerance, for its beauty. Today, it's a place of chaos, a place of war. Israel withdrew from Lebanon 25 years ago, but the country that actually conquered Lebanon is not Israel, it's Iran. Iran, which finances and arms Hezbollah to serve Iran's interests at Lebanon's expense. Hezbollah has turned Lebanon into a stockpile of ammunition and weapons and a forward Iranian military base. Just one day after the October 7th massacre a year ago, Hezbollah joined the war against Israel. It launched an unprovoked attack on our cities and on our citizens. It has since fired over 8,000 missiles at Israel, killing civilians without distinctions, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and Druze. Israel has decided to put an end to this. We've decided to do whatever is necessary to return our people safely to their homes. Israel has a right to defend itself. Israel also has a right to win, and Israel will win. We've degraded Hezbollah's capabilities. We took out thousands of terrorists, including Nasrallah himself, and Nasrallah's replacement, and the replacement of his replacement. Today, Hezbollah is weaker than it's been for many, many years. Now you, the Lebanese people, you stand at a significant crossroads. It is your choice. You can now take back your country. You can return it to a path of peace and prosperity. If you don't, Hezbollah will continue to try to fight Israel from densely populated areas at your expense. It doesn't care if Lebanon is dragged into a wider war. Christians, Druze, Muslims, Sunnis, and Shiites, all of you are suffering because of Hezbollah's futile war against Israel. Today I ask every mother and every father in Lebanon a simple question. Is it worth it? Because it doesn't have to be that way. I know you want a better future for your children. So I'm speaking to all of you today. There is a better way for your children, for your cities, for your villages, for your country. You deserve to restore Lebanon to its days of tranquility. You deserve a Lebanon that is different. One country, one flag, one people. Don't let these terrorists destroy your future any more than they've already done. Stand up and take your country back. You have an opportunity that hasn't existed in decades. An opportunity to take care of the future of your children and grandchildren. You have an opportunity to save Lebanon before it falls into the abyss of a long war that will lead to destruction and suffering like we see in Gaza. It doesn't have to be that way. Each of you can take a step for your future, even a small step. You can make a difference. I say to you, the people of Lebanon, free your country from Hezbollah so that this war can end. Free your country from Hezbollah so that your country could prosper again, so that future generations of Lebanese and Israeli children will know neither war nor bloodshed, but will finally live together in peace.
First Post decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president, your primer on the race to the White House.
A step for your future, even a small step. You can make a difference. I say to you, the people of Lebanon, free your country from Hezbollah so that this war to do whatever is necessary to return our people safely to their homes. Israel has a right to.
So ase the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yɛte n'anim asɛm sɛ First Post for mo nso onyankopɔn nhyira mo yɛda mo ase ɛnti na deɛ ɔwɔ no n'abusua ka no kora TV ɛna wohwii wei anniversary mu nsɛmsɛm a asi no ebi no awurade akɔ ani maame fa nsi yɛ na nyankopɔn yɛ adom a efiada ebedu ani asa abɔ fofora no yɛbɛsa ɛde abrɛw share na subscribe ma yɛ buama ka no kora nso ntimi ɛnyɛ channel kɛse a ebedu berebere na ebi a yɛn nso yɛwɔ ɛyɛ reporters ewo Israel ni America ni ade nyina na wo mo so o mo de news ni efiri ho ba na de ho no nti awurade mo aye nyina wo boa na ejina saa ne nim se bidubidubi no ebeye ezan se yenua no mo a CBN ne TBN ne First Post na other new channels nyina no mo sha se nkakra saa and awurade do ma bedrusa nti yanso ya sa se no ta yachi subscribe my na for comment very very important to us pa comment in there fa bibra pa se de be ya e be bo medwedi na kaso wa baso aba be hwe na chi na for comment bra we need your comment and then your subscription. God bless you. Let's meet if God will Friday. Bye bye.
Kanakor TV.